think I'm ready to finally share the rest of our daughter's story and how she ended up passing away so much younger than we anticipated. So in the last 2 months of her life, there were a couple doctor's appointments that will just forever be ingrained in my brain because of what these medical professionals said to us. The first one was just a routine appointment with our neurologist, so the brain doctor for Poppy. And I just went with her because, again, it was just a very routine appointment. And I remember feeling so out of control. Like, there was nothing I could do to help my daughter. And so I just asked the neurologist straight up. I said, like, I need you to be straight with me. I need you to be so honest with me. Like, is there anything we can do? Like, what is the prognosis? I just need someone to give me the truth. And I will forever remember the exact words that he said. He looked at me and he said, I would prepare for the worst. And then the second appointment that will always stick with me is the palliative care team. So Poppy wasn't doing so well. She had her 2 feeding tubes. She was having some labored breathing issues. And she had a few things kind of going on with her eyes that we weren't sure if it was seizure activity. Again, this is a few weeks after that neurologist appointment. So I feel like we were just seeing regression happen way too quick. It was freaking me out, you guys. A palliative care team, it's not hospice because, again, we didn't think Poppy was at the end of her life. It was just these doctors who were to provide comfort care when there's no solution. Anyways, it was just, we were talking to these doctors about comfort care for Poppy. So we were in this room, a nurse, a doctor, my husband and I, Poppy, and they were also seeing some labored breathing stuff, the stuff with the eyes. And so we made a game plan. We were going to get her another EEG to go check her brain activity to see if it was seizure activity. We also talked about maybe making an appointment with the pulmonologist, is that it? The lung doctor, to discuss Poppy's breathing issues. You know, they were also just asking questions about what we knew about her disease and this genetic condition, what was the estimated timeline of Poppy's life. And so I told them, you know, we've been told that she might live for about like 3 to 5 years, 3 to 6 years. Like, that's kind of what we've been told. And I asked this doctor, I said, based off of Poppy and like what you're seeing, like, what do you think her life expectancy is? And she said, she was so gentle, but she said, yeah, maybe between 2 to 5 years. And it was the first time out of anyone's mouth that 2 years had been said and not 3 years. And so, like, I just, you know, it's like someone punches you with that information. Yeah, I remember thinking, okay, she said the word 2. She must think Poppy's doing worse than what we realize. And again, we were seeing fast regression, but we were trying to be hopeful. They also talked to us about, you know, we'll have to one day make end of life decisions for Poppy. They said, you know, this is just in the future. There's, you know, kind of paperwork you can fill out, but you know, you might have to make decisions one day about if you wanted a DNR, a do not resuscitate, if she's ever like intubed, or if she needs a trach, or, you know, you kind of want to make a lot of those decisions up front, they were telling my husband and I. It was kind of just like something to think about in the future, but something to think about. And so we left that appointment kind of with a game plan, some new medications to help create some comfort for Poppy. And I just remember on the car ride home, like, Poppy was asleep in the back seat, my husband and I were in the front seat, and we had a very brief conversation. And it only needed to be brief because we immediately knew that we were on the same page. We talked about, what do we want for Poppy's life? Like, would we want her to ever have a trach? Do we want her to ever live needing support to stay alive? Would we ever want her to be resuscitated? My husband and I both knew we didn't want those things for her. Like, we wanted Poppy to live forever, but not at her expense. Yeah, we both kind of had this like a verbal decision of like, oh man, like, we don't want Poppy to be uncomfortable for our comfort. And if like she's not going to live very long, like, anyways, her comfort was our priority. And just with her genetic condition and her disease, like, we knew she wasn't going to live forever. Like, we had been told that by any research we did, any doctor. And so that was just a decision we made with our doctor. our doctors. And again, it was all just verbal. There was nothing ever on paper. And obviously, like, we would make different decisions if there were different circumstances. What's crazy about that is, like, you know, we were driving home in the car from this appointment. We had this like extreme conversation that made me feel nauseous and sick. So much anticipatory grief. And then you get home and, you know, I'm still making dinner for Rosie and Peter and putting them to bed and holding Poppy and singing to her. It's like you're living, oh my gosh, the amount of stress trying to live that way and balance it all is so extreme. It was the most amount of stress that I'd ever been in, besides when we were in the hospital with Poppy for her final days.